It was raining the morning of the execution. I remember how brightest and crimson was the sky. God had sliced open the sun, spanning its image, carving out its heart. The sun had never seemed the same to me ever seen. The cold air scraped the inside of my lungs and chilled my nape. It was the first dawn I had awakened to the first time to witness the pain violating birthing of light. Father was shot the day the military picked up Gansu is our fellow Chinese. He executed under Ferdinand Marcos martial law for having a dope dealer. The martial law came President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in a luncheon meeting with UTEC.
What now?
We've got nothing to do with him. At least I don't.
How can you say that?
He's a criminal, a dope dealer. He deserves whatever he gets.
He's just a small fry. You know the guy. You're related.
Quite distant.
He's just a bit player in this thing. Fronting for big shots, for those connections.
Who told him to fool around with those people? He played with fire and burned himself.
And how about the time he saved you from that smuggling rap? He wasn't such a big fool, was he?
Watch your mouth, Lim.
I'll say what I please, Yutak. Many of you here have been helped by that man, criminal or not. All of us have had our share of shady deals. The law's what you can get away with in this country. Gans, not a bright or a brave man. He does what he has to get by, but he's never turned you down anyone. In need, now he's in trouble. Should we sit by and watch him hang?
It's not that we don't care, old Lim, but these aren't normal times. It's martial law. Can't you understand that? They can pick up anyone without charges, without anything, and not all your millions to bail you out.
So, what do we do now?
Wait, we're not sure what they want. It could just be a little scare tactic, a show. We have to be patient and do what we can silently.
Why him? Why Gan? They arrest one Chinese and all of Chinatown's condemned.
Now, don't talk that way, Lim. This is no time for senseless, irresponsible talk. I called you here to tell you everything will be alright. My people have assured me.
Your people?
My contacts, reliable, credible friends close to Beartop. They want us to lie low and on smuggling and illegal stuff for the meantime. Just till things settle.
I still say we have to do something fast. We have to send a signal that he's not being abandoned.
Don't do anything foolish, Lim. We don't know who is involved with. Right now, it's everyone for himself.
Their conversation instead still. Without support, father was entered the embassy for the problem was told domestic. He even visited a poor man, gun in his cell. Tortured, swollen face, scared and more like zombie. But in the end, Gan died. Father having succeeded on what married to father after he processed his Filipino citizenship. Mother won't marry father unless he become a citizen. Mother was the one who worked on the processing of father's citizenship until he was claimed as a citizen. They got married, administered by a judge. Mother wanted it to be a church wedding, yet father refused to be baptized. The execution of Gan changed our lives. It was feel no emotion anymore. Father never called me my Filipino name, instead called me Abing.
Get up, Abing. We're going.
No, Benzo. Don't do this. He's only a boy. He doesn't understand.
Go.
I jumped out of the bed, unsure whether to rush to mother's side and hide behind her or to get dressed fast enough to escape that feared scene. My excitement had been drowned by the confusion and hysteria of my parents, and I felt my lungs congested as water oozed from my nose and eyes. What? What is that I did not understand? A man was to be shot and I'd be there to watch. Most of my classmates for many school years to come. Yet, how my mother wept and pleaded with father to leave me be. My heart was torn. I know it would be take a terrible evil for mother to weep for me as he something in my soul I shivered at the madness. Weeks earlier, we talked up the story of Abraham and Isaac in religion class. Did God appear to father and order him to take me to the stake and he shot in lie of gun? I began weeping myself into he held onto me with such terrifying strength I thought he'd hit me. Stop it, he said. I don't remember becoming a man that day. Mother succeeded in stalling and we arrived too late to catch the musketry. We were walking down the road leading from the camp gate to the execution site with the shot rang out, stopping the early morning with such finality with the same to signal the end of some ancient agony. But no sound of joy or triumph ensues, only another worldly silence, and something began throbbing along my spine. We woke up, true, and I wasn't sure by then we were headed as the possibility of my own sacrifice began boarding the inside of my face. They haven't shot him, Pa. My voice quivered in the half light, but he was deaf to all else. Some inner voice urging him onward, until he met the first wave of witnesses coming our way. Their faces, masked, my dim, look hunted. Blood now seemed to pour from the dying sun, wooden the earth, the trees, the faceless trains meeting us.
Is it over?
Father asked an old woman, her head dropped by embroidered veil, clutching a prayer book as if she'd just been at church, in a strange tone and manner I'd never before heard. Years later, I guess he was trying to disguise himself. But what for? Did he fear to be found out? Did I shame him to come watch a countryman's execution? Did he begin to despise himself for betraying kind? For having betrayed? By someone, something that will forever beyond me.
Yes.
The old one nodded, her white veil held a shadow of her face. So old, so very old made me quite sad. I remember a thing I never see an older. Father stopped and let go of my hand, bowing his head in silence for what seemed an eternity. My bowels began to stir as his silence became deafening. Was he in thirst? Was he terrible pain? A mass of crimson humanity now headed toward us. Father looked up and screwed his face. I panicked, remembering the time he caught a thief trying to break into our store. He had stirred so hard and the guy and lunged at him with such ferocity it took 3 men to stop Father from pounding his fallen prey to death. And just I thought Father would attack the crowd, he dropped his head and whispered, "Go home."
Go home, son.
Yes, let's go home, Pa.
Go!
By myself? But I don't know how to go get him by myself.
When will you ever grow up?
I can't, Pa.
Go! Go! Leave me alone. I can't do anything for you anymore. Get out of my life. Go away!
I managed to find my way back home. Running away in tears from the camp, I could all but make out the figure of the staff man in grey jacket amid the gathering humanity every time I looked back. In the distance, he appeared to me as an ancient tree heavy with branches, drowned and its own swollen roots. I guess Father stayed behind to pay his last respects to Gun's remains, or perhaps help oversee the final arrangement. Rumor had it that a giant pearl was stuffed inside Gun's mouth to light his way through the dark valley of death. Another version had the musketeers flying open the death clam due to extract the jewel. Still another recalled the magic spear Tao's monk bore beside can secure his place in the afterlife and guarantee vengeance against his persecutors in the next incarnation. I never mentioned Gun or anything remotely related to the man ever since. In fact, we never talked again about anything substantial. It seems all at once he had a little to share. Father never tried changing our names, our citizenship. Since then, he didn't bother much with us. It was Mother who handled every detail of our existence. She kept the business afloat even as Father was forever milking dry previous dells, living off our dwindling reserves, sinking deeper into oblivion. When at grade 6, I wanted to transfer to the Ateneo from the Catholic Chinese school. I had been since kindergarten and escaped the increasingly difficult Chinese language subjects. Mother insisted that I tell Father. I summoned enough gut to approach him inside his study and mumbled, "I'm transferring to Ateneo, Pa." He looked at me. as if accosted by some class strangers before responding. Tell your mother. 5 hours ago, Father was confined with a cardiac arrest. It was my turn to be with Father after Mother spent him. Father's health became slowly endangered. Blood sugar and cholesterol rose dangerously. He lost a kidney, right leg, left eyesight, collapsed liver, monthly dialysis, and 2 heart attacks. He refused when I offered one of my kidneys. Father is suffering for different illness and had been in the hospital for the past years. Father was giving signs, writing messages and words in his palms. Death, the word death being wrote in his palms. Delirious, bleeding, and the morning he snatched me from self witnessed execution. I gently tugged at his sheets and untied his right hand. I held on to his callous, dry hand and his clubs, mine with what must have been in remaining strength. He nodded. I took his hand and placed it upon the respirator tubes. He took a deep, powerful breath and I withdrew my hand. Father took another breath. Father took chest. He took another breath of tubeless, adulterated hospital room air. Closed his eyes painfully, and a softness overcame his face so long stretched out by pain and anger. I took his hand and felt it warm. I know I had to leave. I know I had to leave. I done my part. With the nurse checked on him, an hour later it was all over. She tried frantically to clear herself from any blame. The doctors gave Father a few more weeks to live but could not, of course, be definite about it. They also gave him a few weeks after attack some 2 years ago. Mother was hysterical. How can you be that careless? Mario, didn't you stay with him? How can you let this happen? I left the death room, fearful of having my body injured. I slipped out to the veranda. Thus, the swas getting in the blood had again spilled across the horizon. The blood, perhaps, of birds stirred by a speeding jet, or of tortured souls escaping limbo for heaven. In a distance, I thought I heard a burst of gunfire after which silence settled upon the earth. There was the sound of weeping in the air, and the smell of rain. A lightness so filled my heart. My father was dead.